Let's hit the high road. Let's hit the high road. It's the first touch, strong connection. It lays deep in your soul. Feel the kindness strongly coming, 'cause you can achieve your goal.
Hi, this is Nancy Yeareld, and welcome to Nancy's Psychic View on the high road to humanity. And all the way from the UK, I have Jill Carr here today, and welcome to the high road.
Yes, well, thank you, Nancy. I'm looking forward to our chat.
Yes, and she has written a book about astrology, and it's called Astrolations. And if you're watching me on YouTube, I'm holding it up. It's very, very good. My daughter was here for Easter holiday, and she pulled up the information about herself, and she wanted you to know you were spot on.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I'm going to read a little bit about this. But before I do, you guys, and before I read her bio, I just want to remind you that I do have an Angel Connection class coming up on April the 13th. If you want to sign up for it, it's going to be 3 weekends. It's going to be the 13th, the 20th, and the 27th. If you can't make all 3 weekends, I understand that. You will be emailed the class. So go to my website, nancyyearout.com. I'm really excited about this. This is the first live Angel Connection class, and we're going to learn to connect to the divine and to the earth energies and to your own guardian angel. So I'm really excited about that. Now, having said that, I want to read a little bit about Jill today. Get her bio out here. She began seriously studying astrology as an art student, which I think is cool, where she came across modern textbooks of astrology and in a sooty bookshop. And I think that's really neat how you ran across this. And since then, she has studied and worked in various locations within the UK, you guys, refining her research into all matters astrological, including Chinese astrology, where she finds endlessly fascinating. Now, Jill has a degree in surface pattern design, business studies, and philosophy and aesthetics. She is now settled in the wonderfully inspiring county of Cornwall, surrounded by natural beauty. That's so cool that you're there. And before you tell us your story, because I want to hear your story, I want you guys to just sit back and relax. I was really taken back by the introduction to your book. So I'm going to read a little bit out of her book, you guys. And she says, Astrolations with an exclamation point is an astrological guide to understanding your relationship with partners, family members, friends, and colleagues. And it's based on both Western astrology and Chinese astrology, which I think this is really different. So in this guide, you will discover the basic personality traits behind both your Western and Chinese astrology signs, as well as gaining an understanding of the elements which govern your particular blend of signs. Now, you'll then be able to discover the astrological makeup of other people in your life and provided you know their exact date, year, and place of birth, okay? Because you have to understand that. Now, the one thing I want to say before, and then I'll just shut up and let you talk, is that I thought it was cool that you do a whole section back here on children.
Yeah.
And I have never seen this before. I love the number, the 144 combined signs as children.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, yeah. So tell us your story. How did you even get into this? How did you start this? How did it come about, Jill?
Well, it's been many years in the making, Nancy. And, I've made notes over the years on different aspects of astrology, what I want to make. I never really intended to write a book as such, but then it came out, and just everything that fascinates me. And the main thing I did want to write about was how we do relate to each other. It's not just about our romantic relationships, which so many books just focus on that, and that's all people are bothered about. Who's my soulmate, etc. But how we relate to the wider world and everybody within it. And with my interest in Chinese astrology too, I felt that the two blended together quite well. And just over time, I've refined the book because it could have been over 1,000 pages long if I let it.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? It's a long enough book as it is. And I wanted to include a section on children, as you said. I'm really pleased you said that because not everybody mentions that. I think it's so important. And, because children are, although they are developing adults, they have their special characteristics straight away, even from babies. And, anybody who's a parent or, has been very connected with children will know this. And it's very important to know how we as parents and so on, grandparents, uncles, aunties, etc., relate to that child because that sign could not be may not be compatible with the child. So you need to understand, that about what makes that child work as a young person. So
Right.
that's so that was a big part of it, and I felt it was important. But as I say, it took a long time to work out, right, how do I combine the signs? Where do I stop? And this is why it probably doesn't go. It covers a lot of ground, so it may not go as fully into certain signs or certain aspects as you might hope. For instance, the elements, which I think are very important.
Right.
For example, if you have wood in your sign as a Chinese sign, I think it's quite good because we don't have the equivalent of wood in Western astrology. And it's quite an interesting element because it softens, if you like, anything else that character has. So there's so much. I'm so excited by the whole subject that I wanted to bring that out to people. But on the other hand, now I say I wanted it because of people who may be new to astrology. I don't want to overawe them with facts. But on the other hand, there are people who are well into astrology who may find it quite eye-opening as well, maybe like myself.
Well,
so yeah, that's how I got into it, and I just knuckled down, through the lockdowns, and so I thought I'm going to finish this book.
wow. Well, I have a lot of questions. I will tell you, I've interviewed a lot of different astrologers over the years, and yours was unique, very unique. Now, the first thing I want to ask you, if it's okay, you in the very beginning, you ask, you show us what our true sun, you say your true sun sign. And this threw me off. Okay, so I'm like, okay, I'll be the guinea pig here because my birthday is January 28th. But I'm an Aquarius, but my sun, according to this, is Capricorn.
Yeah.
So explain this because I was like, wait a minute, what does that mean?
I mean, many astrologers are divided on this, and the first astrologer I read the book I got when I was almost I was drawn to this book, when I was an art student. I found it, and it found me. And she was an old astrologer, I mean, she's dead now, but she laid the groundwork for modern astrology, really. And she's not a big fan of saying, well, this is the true sun sign. Your zodiac sign is different. But I believe that we do have our zodiac signs. So for instance, yours is Aquarius, mine is Leo.
Right.
Now, because of I don't know if you read all the stuff about the way that the Earth oscillates on its gravitational path. So therefore, the constellations have moved almost a whole month out of where they were when the ancient Babylonians devised astrology.
Okay.
It's a bit weird. So you think, well, actually the day you were born, the constellation that was present was Capricorn. The day I was born, the constellation that was present was Cancer. Now, it might seem a bit mind-boggling, now, because you think, oh no, I've always believed that, and it's in a sense you think, well, I'm a Leo, I'm an Aquarius, and therefore I am like this. But you have to bear in mind sometimes that there might be aspects of your personality that are Capricorn or are, in my case, Cancer. And you may find, I don't know if you've looked into it to find out what your other signs are, if you know what your moon sign, rising sign.
Yeah, mine's water too. My element's water. I'm a rabbit water. And I looked at this and I was like, wait a minute. Should I be first of all, I just want to say, should I be reading Capricorn? And second of all, when I read Water Rabbit, it was right on the money, by the way.
Mm, mm.
Anyway, go ahead. I want you to know that.
Well, no. Well, I'm really pleased with that because I think Chinese astrology has a lot going for it, and also, as you say, with the elements. Have you looked at your Chinese ascendant as well?
No, I
The
haven't. No.
oh well,
How should
that's
we
interesting.
how should we do this? Like, so what's the so if I I have the book and now
Yeah.
I look at my sun sign and it says Capricorn instead of Aquarius. And then I look at my years and dates, each zodiac sign, and then I figure out, okay, well, that's when I figured out I was rabbit and water.
Mm, mm.
And then, so I guess I'm asking, so then at what point, do you kind of decide, well, which am I?
Well, I think it's. I don't want to focus too much on the sun sign versus the zodiac sign. Your zodiac sign is Aquarius. You are an Aquarius person, okay?
Okay.
But to say that you do also have influence from Capricorn, and whether you feel that's true about you or not, but you may find that I don't know if you know your Mercury, all your other planetary signs, you may find that you've got a planet, one or two planets in Capricorn anyway, which influence you. As I have got quite a few planets in Cancer, you see, which is my sun sign. So, but I don't want to focus on that. I don't think we should get too hung up about that, Nancy. I
Okay.
think
Okay.
but I think what is very important is also moon sign, rising sign, and our other signs, but also our Chinese ascendant.
Okay.
And so you know what your element is, but you may not know what your ascendant is. It depends what time of day. But having said that, when you say how you go about it, I would, if I were doing an astrological profile for you, I would make a note of all these things, see how many certain elements you've got in your sign, how those affect your character.
Mhm.
So, for example, if you had a rundown of all your planets and you say you're rabbit, water rabbit, as well, looking at the native element of rabbit also, which is wood, and
Yes, I
then
saw
so that
that.
means so each of the Chinese signs has its native element, that which sort of rules it, whatever. So you've got wood, you've got water. Let's say you were born under dragon, for example, ascendant, then you would have wood from dragon as well, because that's dragon's native element.
Oh, I see.
So when if you make a note of all those things, then you can form an idea of your full character, really.
Right.
I mean, I could, I certainly didn't have space to go into what does your Mercury sign say about you, what does your moon sign, because that's a whole other book, and many people have written books about those.
Mhm.
But I think moon and rise. Do you know your moon and rising sign at all?
Oh, I think it's
Uh,
Pisces. Yeah, I think mine's Pisces. Yeah.
Pisces, your
Yeah.
moon.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have a
So that's interesting, isn't it? You've got quite a bit of water then already.
Yeah, isn't that
Yeah.
interesting? But I like water. But what's neat about your book, and I don't want to I want the audience to really check this out, because I love that you put in, whether it's a horse or a rabbit or a sheep, this is the animal. I think that's really cool. Or the snake,
Mm,
like the cancer
mm.
snake. And it's more in depth. It gives you more of a broad understanding of yourself and of your personality.
Excuse me. Yes.
Now, the person, grab a drink if you want. But the person
Well,
that even if you want to look up your children, I think this was really cool in the back. Like, you have the same thing, Gemini sheep as a child, so that you
yeah.
see that element. And the animal with it. Now, let me ask you this question real quick. So if you are, like you say yourself, you're Leo, and what were you, Leo and?
Well, I'm a rabbit.
You're a rabbit too. Okay. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, if I look at this and it says,
Oh,
oh,
sorry. Sorry, you meant Cancer. Yeah, Cancer.
yeah,
Sun sign. Is that what you meant?
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
So, no, right. So do you read both? Do you read both? Because you're kind of like,
Um.
well, it could be either.
Yes, I would say.
Oh,
I would say that you read your zodiac sign, you know, and your sun sign, because you've got influence from both of those. That's what I would say.
Okay.
And you know, I definitely do feel that I get a lot of influence from Cancer as well. Generally, with your zodiac sign, it's the sort of the way you present, the way you look, the way you go about your everyday life. Whereas your sun sign is it's the constellation that was there. So you will have some influence from Capricorn, whether you like it or not.
Isn't that interesting? Well, I think this is really interesting. Now, you do charts for people, I would imagine.
Yes, I mean friends and so on. It's not something I do as a
Not
page.
something you do. Okay. You're more of a
No.
writer and an astrologer.
I am and a researcher. I like to, you know, researching different varies. I love to research various aspects of astrology. So that's what I like to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
More than anything. All right. So I'm going to ask you because all the audience is going to want to know what is going on with the solar eclipse on April 8th. I know you said you haven't researched all of it. I did pull a little information. And so I'll read this very briefly and then you can expand because I'm not the expert, but this is what I pulled offline. And I actually pulled it from Wikipedia. Just says a total
Hmm.
solar eclipse will take place as the moon's ascending node on Monday, April 8th, 2024. It'll be visible across North America, and dubbed the Great North American Eclipse, also Great American Total Solar Eclipse and the Great
Mm,
American Eclipse by a lot of the media.
yes.
And yeah, so it says in the United States, it will be totally visible through the states of Texas, including parts of San Antonio, Austin, Fort Worth. I'm reading this so people can kind of know. Arlington, Dallas, Temple. You guys will be able to see it. Oklahoma, Hot Springs, Little Rock, Missouri, Tennessee. So there's certain states that it's going through. Todd, what do you know about this? Because people are worried, people are nervous.
Yes, people are, and I don't know why.
I don't
I mean,
either.
it's not a hugely unusual cosmic event. You know, eclipses happen. I know we get more lunar eclipses than solar eclipses, but I think a solar eclipse does feel very important for people, and I think probably for the ancients, you know, it did portend, you know, various big catastrophes and so on. People were in awe of it, rather scared and rather worried. I would say, you know, I mean, I know it occurs at the time of the full moon as well.
Right. Well, and they always say this is just, I'm a biblical kind of person. And so in
Mm,
the Bible, it does say there will be signs in the heavens. And
yes.
to me, I'll just say this, I feel that it's a sign from God, that divine spirit, whatever you want to call that energy, that there is unrest. And I think maybe it's a sign that they want us to know that there is a divine source, there is that loving energy,
Mm, mm,
that we're not alone. That's what I think. What do you feel on that?
yes. Well, I mean, I mean, I don't have that same belief, strong belief in the divine that you do, Nancy. You know, I mean, I was obviously I brought up in the Methodist Church, and we were more about simple worship, I suppose. Whereas I don't, I think people can read a lot into these signs, but on the other hand, you know, you think, yes, well, the heavens are trying to show us something here. The
Mm,
cosmos
mhm,
is there, and we are affected by it. This is
mhm.
why I feel astrology is important, because it's a mystery, and life affects us whether we like it or not. And I think that people are in awe of this because that lovely light. Not that we've had much in the UK at the moment. It's just raining all the time, but that light from the sun, which is present, whether we can see it or not, is blotted out for whatever period of time, not for very long. But it's as if there is a message, and I can quite see that there is a message, and I think it is a very important time as well, you know, in the cosmos as a whole, because of where the planets are situated. There are a few planets retrograde, which means that they appear to be moving backwards, which is stalling events somehow. There are so many horrible things are happening in the world at
Right,
the moment,
right.
which seem as if they're in a stalemate. And I think what we're hoping with this eclipse is that things are going to be shaken up a bit. Something's going to happen for good, hopefully. What's what we always hope, don't we? For good,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
for the other. So this is my take on it. I think the new moon is also always very powerful, and it's when strange things, strange happenings can occur. But it is unusual to have a solar eclipse. I mean, we won't see it here in the UK, but
Right.
we are obviously aware of it. Yes, it's great that you can see it there.
Well, and it's
Um,
kind of, the odd thing about this is that it is traveling in this line directly across the United States. And
mm,
it's hitting, and there's been a lot of biblical references to the different
yeah.
cities that it is crossing.
All
So,
right.
yes, which is interesting. So I just really feel like, I don't know, I feel like we're at a point in the world where we have a choice to make. And I think this gives us another sign that we better make that choice.
It's
I think the time is
fantastic.
coming. That's what I think.
Yes, well, and I think even if it's not a specific sign, obviously it's going to happen whether we want it to or not. This eclipse, it's what happens, when the moon and the sun cross their paths. So there is a geographical, if you will, a meteorological explanation for it, but I think
Yeah.
it does shake people up now. So as you say, people think this is a major event,
Well,
and
yeah. Well, and
and
it
it's
just,
it, yeah,
well, I don't know. I'm looking on one of my friends had sent me a thing, and she was saying, right now, um, Pluto is in Aquarius, I think she
mm,
said. And so what does that mean astrologically? Because that's part of this too, isn't it? Pluto and
yeah.
Uranus. I keep hearing this. Maybe I'm not the astrologer, but I keep hearing, well, Pluto is in Aquarius and
Yeah,
Uranus. What does all of that mean?
with because it's as the planets move as they do, and they enter different constellations as they are moving around on their path. So currently, as you say, Pluto is in Aquarius, and as an astrologer, you can translate that to say, well, yes, that's actually not bad because Pluto is a very dark, um, not seen as a planet now, is it? It's seen as a dwarf planet, but it's sort of the dark side of it. It rules Pisces, and it's what we can either see dark or light in
Mm,
life through Pluto. But Aquarius is the sort of the great communicator, the person who brings light into life, if you like. It a lover of humankind. So we would hope that with Pluto being in Aquarius, the burden of Pluto is being lightened to allow the light from Aquarius to shine on the whole of humankind. And that's what this is why I think it's quite um, a sign for good, I believe, a sign for good, not for evil, because we do have signs of evil on occasion. So this is what I think believe happens there with Pluto and Aquarius. It's a
Interesting.
good, it's a desirable state of affairs, I'd say. Mm.
Interesting. Interesting. I really like it. So this is an exciting time, especially for you as an astrologer, to watch such a shift because there's so many
Mm.
exciting things it seems that are going on astrologically.
Yeah, a lot of cosmic shifts, and I think anybody who's born around now, it's quite an exciting time ahead of them as well.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I mean, we are although we are in the zodiac sign of Aries, anybody born now is still in the sun sign of Pisces. So the sun was in Pisces, when they were born, you see. So Pisces, I think, is quite a powerful planet ruled by Pluto. So we hope that the power of Pisces, any negativity of Pisces can be alleviated by Aquarius. This is what I'm hoping.
Interesting. That's really, really
Mm.
interesting. Now, what else astrologically? Well, let me just ask you this, if you don't mind. There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of conspiracy theories, but I just wanted to know your
Mm,
opinion because I see it. A lot of people are taking pictures of two suns right now.
yeah.
A lot of people
I,
are saying there's a planet behind the sun. They call it Planet X. I mean, have you heard these things? What do you
not,
think?
not I've not come across this, to be quite honest, Nancy. I
Okay.
mean, I sort of, I look more into, I suppose, historical aspects of astrology, or how people's charts and that sort of thing. What their houses are, and looking into the past. Whereas, I don't know. I've not come across this, but I can quite believe that that happens because, yeah, what if there were another sun?
Well,
What if there were
yeah,
another moon?
there's been a lot of people
What
taking,
if? What?
yes, well, there's been a lot of pictures up and put up online. I've noticed
Well, I'll
recently.
have to have a
Yeah.
look. I'll have a look for
Yeah,
that
so the
then.
two
Yeah.
sons. So I think honestly, I think that's why the conspiracy theory is so crazy, and that this eclipse, I wrote down this too. It's 60 to 79% in North America. So a lot of the United States. This I kind of feel, I'm a psychic, I'm intuitive, and I just kind of feel like it is a sign because, and I feel like it's a sign for America too, as a whole because it feels like we got to get our act together over here.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
we don't, I feel like it's like do or die kind of thing. I hate to say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just feel like it's like, okay, you guys, this is a sign, and it's either you get it together or it's just not going to work out. Cause I worry about what's going to happen.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
Not just, but here in
Mm.
the United States, it's always been so great and things are not great. And so, what about in the UK? What's going on over there? Can I ask?
Um, well, I mean, politically or all sorts. I don't know. We yeah, there is a lot of unrest socially, I think, in the UK because of sort of sometimes people are in government for longer than their allotted span, and it happens like that in the UK. We call it the swings and roundabouts. There's been a lot of dismay about the way certain things in the country are running, and about poverty, that people aren't being looked after properly, and so on. There's a lot of people getting a lot of money for things they shouldn't be getting money for, and all this. Yes, there's a lot of unrest really, and a lot of dissatisfaction in the country. And so I think this is the sort of thing that people might say, look, it is time for a change. And we have got a general election coming up in the country, and I think people are looking for a swing to a more understanding government and supportive. Unfortunately, it's always, well, it's the same in America, isn't it? It's either one or the other.
Oh yeah, it's a
So
great divide, the great divide right now.
the great divide. So I think we have got an election coming. Well, they haven't exactly announced it yet, but it will be in the summer, I think. So there's still a lot of influence from what's going on. I think people will see the eclipse as a sign that things, as you say, have got to change. It's
Right.
up to people to take matters into their hands. It not to call to arms, but that we have to think right. We are people here in this country. We need to be aware of what's happening and give our voice. So
Exactly.
this is
Yeah, I think that too. I
yeah.
think you hit it right on the head there, where we have to gather together as communities. I've been
Mm,
saying
mm.
that where, I don't agree with what our government's doing either, but I think people have to band together in communities and take care of each other because
Yes,
there are
yeah,
so many
absolutely.
homeless over
Yeah,
here in the United
yeah,
States. It sounds like you've got that issue as well in the UK.
definitely have. Yes, yeah, and some people, caring people, aren't happy with it. There are always people that think wrongly, as far as I'm concerned, that people deserve to be homeless. And because obviously your country is much vaster than ours, so you've got a huge country there, whereas but we have across the whole of the UK, um, there are big social problems. that many people care about. Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's what, you know, that's what this is really. And I just will ask you this. I know you don't have all the answers, but astrologically, do you see people becoming kinder? I mean, do you see that happening? More compassionate towards each other, forgetting about the material things and being more compassionate about people, about humans, about animals too.
Yeah, about animals too, and
Mhm.
about the planet itself, you know, the
Right,
Earth, our lovely Earth that we live
right.
on. Because I think that you know, I'm a very big believer in the Chinese years, and
Right.
this year is the year of the wood dragon, which I think, because as I said before, wood is a softening element, and although dragons quite fierce, they can be quite bombastic and want to impose their will, but
Mhm.
the wood element of it makes for a little more kindness and understanding. And this is why I'm hoping that this year, and on my website, you know, I've written about this current Chinese year, how it affects all the other signs. And I think that people, you know, in my mind, and what I read about it too, should become more compassionate. I mean, I know last year we had a rabbit year, which was the year of the water rabbit, um, which gave way to a lot of because water is a little bit of a vague sort of sign, and there can be misunderstandings and misinterpretations in the world. I'm not talking about people, but whereas the water dragon is a little bit more forceful, but in a kind and compassionate way.
In a
This is
kind
what I'm
way.
hoping this year. And the Chinese year goes until mid of January next year.
Now, if
So
people
this
want
is
to
what,
read that, if people want to read it, what's your website?
it's astrolations.co.uk. It's a UK site, so astrolations.co.uk.
Okay.
And I've written down forecast for every Chinese site there and for all the astrological signs. So that's on my website, amongst many other things on the website. Lots of information about astrology generally, elements, the ascendants, moon, how your moon sign affects you. I've written also, there's something I've just put on recently. I've been researching more into the moon. So, you know, if you're, for example, I think you said you were a Pisces moon, I'm a Leo moon, how it affects your sign.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what people can find on the website. If people look, you know, more information, more in-depth stuff
Yeah.
about astrology.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like about your book. Is that
Yeah,
it's really gets into, you know, who you are, and it's really helpful. It's
yeah,
there's a short, just so you guys know, she gives a short synopsis and then a more lengthy. But again, I'm going to reiterate one more time. I love the 144 combined signs as children. And so you can look at your kids and kind of, because it gives a better when I started to read this, I thought, wow, this is really cool because it's a guideline. It gives you a little bit more understanding about your child or your grandchild
yes,
or
I-
niece or your
yeah,
nephew. Don't you?
yeah, very, very important, isn't it?
And
And you also see people who are younger. I mean, my parents are not alive now, but you know, people who are younger, they could say to parents, "Was I like this as a child?" You know, uh,
yeah,
this is me, and they'll say, you know, and then you can look at yourself as a parent or look at your own parents as parents and say, you know, this is why, because I fully understand what my father was like because of and how he got so frustrated and how he should never have been a soldier in the war because he was such a sensitive soul. You know, it's
yeah,
you know destroyed. So you know this sort of thing, how it affected him so badly. You know, so things like that you sort of understand the parents a little more because people, you know, children as you grow up, you know, can become at odds with their parents and say, no, just let's have a bit of understanding here. This is
mhm,
why. And it's you know okay, it's not just astrology that you know, a lot of this can be said displayed in psychological terms, but I think there's a lot of comparison between psychology and astrology because you know C.J. Young, the famous astrologer, psychologist,
yes,
he brought astrology into psychology. He believed
I didn't know
people.
that. I didn't know yoga
Oh,
astrology into psychology.
really,
Oh,
really
wow.
believed in it very strongly.
Yeah.
You should read. In my book, I put some references at the back, so I think you
Okay.
find them. He's a very
Okay.
interesting
Yeah, I didn't know
psychologist.
that. Well, I didn't get to read. Well, it's a thick one, and I first just read the beginning in my thing, but wow, that's really cool. I love that.
Mm.
I really love that. Thank you. What a wonderful book. How long did it take you? I just want to ask you to put this together.
Well, you're asking from the conception, I suppose, the idea 10 years ago, but
Wow.
uh, having said that, I've not been working on it constantly all that time.
Yeah.
There's work and so on to do, isn't there?
Yeah.
Children to sort out, etc., family.
Yeah.
But it's been in the background. I've been working on that and other things. I've always got one or two bits of writing I do. So that was what I've been working. I thought, let's just concentrate on this, Jill. Let's just get it together. And
Yeah.
this is what I decided to do.
And I
And
bet
I'm
people
currently,
love it. I bet people love
yeah,
it. Have you gotten, what's
well,
your reaction been from this?
sorry.
What's the reaction been from the public, from people who've read it?
I've had some, mostly, I don't think I've had any negative reviews, but I've mostly had, people that have given 4 and 5 stars, and I think, wow, this is so different. And I think this is what
It
people
is.
feel about it. It is it's not a book you're going to sit down and read it cover to cover. It's something as a research tool, some research, some people who've reviewed it have said, it's used for people, say, doing blogs or podcasts, said, who want to use it as a bit of research for people who write it themselves. So there's that aspect, but also some fun for people. People will find it entertaining and look at their grandparents. You can look at each other on that more superficial level as a bit of fun, but
Mhm.
I think um, I think on the whole, like you've said, found that wow, that explanation of my character or this and this and this, how I am at work, is just right. The
Yeah.
resemblance.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and
it's
I'll say for me reading my own thing, it talked about how psychic I am. And
yeah,
I thought, well, yeah,
because
but
you've got Moon in Pisces, yeah, and
yeah.
you're a water out. I mean, anything water is a
So
conduit.
yeah, it was like
Oh,
confirmation. I mean, I know it, but it was
yeah,
confirmation. That's what it was, I think, more than anything, I'm
yeah,
like,
I know, yeah,
of
yeah.
course,
This is why, yeah, this is why I'm
Yeah.
like this, for instance,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was really, really
So it's been a long time in the making, but in the boiling pot, if you like. But then it's reached its conclusion, and I'm so grateful to my publishers because it's a big book. Not everybody would take that on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we
yeah.
have to say, and we have to say a big hello to Intuit. Well, they did this. It would be it's under John O books, isn't it? Under John O.
It's O Books,
O
yes,
books,
yes,
yes,
O Books,
yes.
and it's now Collective Ink, yeah,
Yeah, it's O books, which is
O
nice.
Books, yeah.
They're doing mine too.
Ah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so you've got. I might have known you'd have a book coming out.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Mine's coming out. They say before December. I want it out for Christmas. But
Oh
you're
wow,
right.
yeah.
These guys are out of the UK and they did a wonderful job on your book. And I
Mm,
have to give them credit. You're right, because it's how many pages this thing? It's 700 pages.
seven.
Over
Yeah,
700 pages, you guys.
I wouldn't do that
Oh,
again.
well, and it's called Astrolations. If you guys are listening to me on the podcast, it's a unique astrological guide for you in all your relationships. And it is by Jill Carr, and that's Carr. And your website, one more time, Jill.
So it's www.astrolations.co.uk, co.uk.
Okay. Okay.
So it's a
Fantastic.
UK site. I've also got a Astrolations Facebook page.
Okay, we'll have to, yeah, I'll
But
put it on the notes. What do you want to
yeah, thank
leave
you.
us with? What do you want to leave us with today? We have this eclipse coming up. It's,
Yeah.
it's April. Well, maybe for the month of April. Any insight for the month of April?
Um, I think this month of April is going to be, I mean, I haven't got any sort of special insights, but I think with it being within the dragon year as well, the Chinese year, um, we've got the combination of Pisces and Aries. So I think we're going to have quite a sort of strong month for people. But I mean, it depends on one sign, doesn't it? But I think anybody with Pisces and Aries in their sign is going to have quite an eventful month, is
Interesting.
what I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
anybody fire sign as well. Anybody with fire.
With a fire sign as well. Thank you,
Mhm.
Jill. I appreciate that. All right, you guys, we're going to get out of here for today. Remember to pick up my book, Wake Up, The Universe is Speaking to You. It just was relaunched on
Oh,
Amazon. And
I'll
at
look
Barnes,
out.
yes, and at Barnes and Noble, you'll find my original there. And remember the angel class, sign up on my website. Jill, it's been a pleasure.
Yes, I'm talking to you. It's been great, Nancy. It's been really good.
Thanks
The
for
fellow
coming on.
rabbit. Thank you.
Hello, rabbit. I love it. I love it. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here for today. Hope everybody has a fabulous week and God bless.
Hold your head high, the world is coming. Watch the colors lift your soul. Connect the dots and keep the motion. Can achieve your goal. Let's hit the high.